Provide me with the names of the 6 million Jews who were massacred during the Jewish Holocaust. Imagine for a second such a question was posed to our friends in the Jewish diaspora as if a requirement to justify the reality of the Holocaust. What a despicable, degrading statement it would be, disrespecting our Jewish friends who survived one of the worst crimes in human history. To the forces in Armenia and external who have the audacity to pose such a question on the Armenian genocide, we, the Armenian Australian community, once again tell you no. No to any attempt to deny the historical reality of the genocide. No to the normalization of relations with the Republic of Turkey without recognition and reparations for the crimes 109 years ago. No to a peace treaty with genocide-denying Azerbaijan, who revert to the pan-Turkic policies of 109 years ago that led to the complete ethnic cleansing of Artsak's 180,000 Armenians. No is our response as a community. His Eminence Archbishop Haigazun Najarian, Primate of the Armenian Apostolic Church of Australia and New Zealand, Reverend Fathers, members of the Australian Federal Parliament, New South Wales Parliament, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Let me begin by also acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we gather and pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging. Friends, I am sorry. On this solemn 109th anniversary of the Armenian genocide, it shatters me to announce that we have received a statement from our Prime Minister and opposition leader, once again failing to characterize the first genocide of the 20th century by its true name. Instead, we have received the following from Prime Minister Anthony Albanese. He offers his respect to the tragic events that began in 1915, describing Armenians being deported, displaced from unconscionable violence. It's weak. It's weak, Prime Minister. Better, but weak. Not what we expect from our leader. From opposition leader Peter Dutton, we have received a statement where he talks of the Young Turks rounding up, arresting, deporting, slaughtering Armenians. The opposition leader even used the word slaughtering Armenians. He calls the actions murdered under the barbarism of the Ottomans, even when his party has a party policy on the Armenian genocide. But the opposition leader fails to have the courage to use the word genocide. To our leaders, our message is not new and has always been simple. Accurate recognition of the Armenian genocide. No to your massacres, no to your tragedies, and no to your crimes of the past. Over the last 49 years since the establishment of the Armenian National Committee of Australia, we and our community organisations have pleaded. Over the last 49 years, we as a community have worn our hearts on our sleeves with every elected official we have met, urging them to do what is right by not politicising this process. We as a community have fought with every ounce of that Armenian passion that has seen young Armenians who have sat in these very chairs, who have risen to some of the most powerful seats in this country. Yet you have stared us in the eyes and told us no. No to conveniencing truth over denial. And instead, our leaders once again on the 109th anniversary of the genocide curtsied to the foreign dictatorship of Turkey. Therefore, it is my duty not to speak of your progress or graduating euphemisms to make you look good anymore, and not mince my words, but to remind you of some very important facts. As 6 commemorations take place across this country on the April 24, 109th anniversary of the genocide, and as you seek to form a majority government in the upcoming elections, remember the following. Every vote matters. Bennelong's Armenian community of 7,000 matters. Mekele's Armenian community of over 3,000 matters. North Sydney's Armenian community of over 3,000 matters. Parramatta's rapidly growing Armenian community of over 3,000 matters. Fowler and McMahon's Armenian community of over 3,000 matters. Chisholm's Armenian community of over 2,000 in Victoria matters. Aston's Armenian community in Victoria of over 1,000 matters. And Hotham's Armenian community of over 2,000 in Victoria matters. Every vote matters. As you heed the threats of a foreign dictatorship, let me share with you the resounding sentiments of the leaders of the over 40 Armenian Australian community organisations we represent. They are tired, they are fed up, they've had enough, and no longer want to be pawns in the game of chess that our leaders are playing. They don't want to volunteer, vote, or promote anyone peddling lip service and lies. Should you lack the moral courage to do what is right and just, it's time you, the Prime Minister and opposition leader, commit to a vote in the Australian House of Representatives or the Australian Senate. Suspend standing orders and allow the parliamentarians elected to our House of Representatives or Senate to vote. To vote acknowledging this crime as genocide. Friends, here in New South Wales, we should be proud of our achievements. As the first state to recognise the Armenian genocide, the bipartisan support has led to 2 other jurisdictions across this country, most recently Tasmania recognising the Armenian genocide. But our work is not over as we enter a new era for genocide recognition in New South Wales. The Armenian National Committee of Australia was proud to announce that it secured unanimous support for a motion in the New South Wales Legislative Council in December 2023, calling for the establishment of an Armenian, Assyrian and Greek Genocide Museum and for the inclusion of Armenian genocide in the New South Wales education curriculum. How does one learn about World War II without addressing the Jewish Holocaust? You can't. How does one learn about World War I without addressing the Armenian, Assyrian and Greek genocides and the sacrifice that everyday Australians made on the home front and our Anzacs in saving thousands of Armenians, Assyrians and Greeks? You can't. It is a history we should be proud of as Australians. It is a history that should be taught. And I urge our parliamentary friends in New South Wales that are here with us tonight and the civil society bodies to join us on this journey as we secure education of the Armenian genocide in New South Wales. To conclude this year's advocacy address on the 109th anniversary of the Armenian genocide, it is impossible to speak of the Armenian genocide without addressing the ethnic cleansing of Artsakh. Look into the eyes of this young boy. Look into the eyes of Vartan. Look at him and tell him the world learned from 1915. Look at him and tell him 1915 never again. Such a statement is a lie. As the world failed to act when this young boy had no food for 9 months. Such a statement is a lie as the world watched on whilst Vartan was forced from his home. And Australia and those who have failed to recognise the Armenian genocide are complicit. Because it is that failure that has prevented our compatriots from a peace-loving life in their ancestral homeland. Thankfully, we have champions in our corner, including the member for Bennelong, Mr. Jerome Laxau MP, who worked tirelessly to help secure Australian humanitarian aid to the people of Artsakh. I know in the circumstances, many of you would feel it wasn't enough. I know you wanted more. I know we deserved more. But for the first time, the people of Artsakh were being assisted by an Australian government 14,000 kilometres away from our homeland. And we express our gratitude to Mr. Laksau for his commitment to that cause. We have champions in our corner like Michael Sukkar MP, the Victorian member for Deakin, and New South Wales Legislative Council member Jackie Munro, herself a former participant of the climate conference in 2023 in Dubai, who is now calling on Australians not to step foot on the brutal, murderous soil of Azerbaijan, who is hosting that same climate conference later this year. The Armenian-Australian community joins Jackie and Michael Sukkar in their calls in saying no Australian. No Australian should step foot on the soil of a regime that is covered in the blood of Armenians. It is time our government stands with our friends in the Federal Parliament and New South Wales Parliament championing this cause and stop rewarding genocidal regimes with their silence. That is why tonight, as always on the anniversary of the Armenian genocide, we renew our fight. We renew our fight for Khatun Megerditshan. We renew our fight for 1.5 million Armenians, and we renew our fight for Artsakh. Thank you.